We internally developed. We've got a very good partner who helps us with this, and every employee with his kind of credit card owns his own learning. So if there's a large ownership of participating in workshops or e-certification or simulation, so there's a large pull to it rather than the earlier saga of HR, please go for this training, there are only 15 participants, we need 20 participants, so all that has been done away with. So that comes to the end of all the things that I wanted to share, and of course at the end we'll have some time for open discussion, so I'll check and see. Thanks.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you, DMA, thank you, IBA, and with such a distinguished panel, I was wondering what should I cover, but I specialize in the area of social media, so I thought I'll stick to my core strength, competitive competence, and not get too much sucked into the other aspects of technology. My role typically, I was HR guy, but as Rajesh, when he met me, said, where are you now? Because every time he meets me, I'm with a new firm. And I told him I'm with this firm called Brave New Talent. He says, how come you jump so many jobs? I said, because I'm a Gen Y at heart. And so Brave New Talent is a UK-based startup. The way I've structured this presentation is, first I'm going to talk about what is social media, how is it impacting. We talked about in the morning about paradigm shifts, and I seriously believe, and it's been corroborated by many other thought leaders, that this is a true paradigm shift that we are witnessing in organizational life. Organizational models have been the same from the Roman centurion days of hierarchical, vertical structures divided into sub-hierarchical vertical structures headed by a leader. But now, and there's an old saying, first we make our tools, then our tools make us. So we've made some tools, and those tools are radically changing us. Let's take a look at what they are. We talk about engagement. I think Facebook is the most engaging organization on this planet. 500 billion minutes are spent on Facebook every month. Discretionary effort you talk about? People are developing discretionary effort on Facebook. Last year, that number was 150 billion. So it's not just increasing on an addition level, it's increasing on a geometrical level. So this presentation is actually, I uploaded 2 hours ago on a site called SlideShare. If you don't know SlideShare, SlideShare is like a YouTube for slide decks. And before lunch, 140 people had actually viewed that presentation. And some 3 people had downloaded it. So before I addressed you, 140 people already have access to this content and are sharing it as they are. 25 billion is the amount of content, web links, news stories, blog posts, posted each month on Facebook. I think the number now is 30 billion. And PepsiCo's America digital marketing head, Shiv Singh, actually said that his competition is not other lifestyle brands. His competition is 30 billion pieces of content posted on Facebook in a month. So that's what you're competing for. You're not competing for sales, you're not competing for, that will come later. You're first and foremost competing for people's attention. And that is 6 times more last year's volume. And it's increasing. And this is US specific data. 95% of companies use LinkedIn to find and attract employees, 59% use Facebook, and 42% use Twitter. And I'm sure a lot of us here are using LinkedIn to attract employees. I had this conversation with the talent acquisition head of a large product company a European product company, and we met in Bangalore, and he said, you know, I think I'm going to scrap the job roles. I'll do it for some specific openings, but I'm not going to invest in them the way I'm going to be investing in sites like LinkedIn. Because the kind of quality I get on LinkedIn and social sites, I don't see that. My recruiters are struggling to deal with resume spam. And the people we want to go after don't want to join us. So what is the sweet spot of recruitment? This is India-specific numbers. Job sites had 2 million visitors. Facebook has 35 million users in India, and that number is inching every day. Facebook's now looking at India as the second biggest growth market worldwide. LinkedIn has 10 million users. I was at another conference last week, and LinkedIn's head of HR had come down for the conference, and he said, India is our biggest growth market. The number of people joining LinkedIn, the rate of people increasing is the highest in the world. We talked about paradigm shifts. So society is actually going through a paradigm shift. There's this book called Cognitive Surplus, written by a guy called Clay Shirky. Do get a look at it. He's saying we are moving from consuming media to creating media. That's why they term social media. Each time any of us update a Facebook status, we are creating media. When we analyze or make comments about Cyrus Mistry on Twitter or Facebook, we are doing our part of creating media. And our friends are our audiences. So the hierarchical model applied to not just organizations, but in the way we did all our things. And everything is being recast in the matter of networks. And there's this person who's called it, from hierarchy, we're moving to hierarchy. We are networked and we are always connected to each other. So we talked about this geography being history. So that's what earlier communication was either face-to-face, synchronous. Email changed it, but essentially remained a broadcast model. Now we are virtual and variable. I can choose to take that podcast when I want it. I can choose to have it delivered to me in whichever form I want it. From living within our means, and I think one of the speakers, I think Dr. Bhide talked about in the morning, to having it all. We might say it's not good, but those are changes that society is going through. And of course, from job for life and to continuous learning. And one of the big things about continuous learning is, it struck me yesterday, was when our aspirations exceed our competencies, that's when we constantly want to learn. So perhaps having it all, the aspiration of having it all, exceeding our competencies, forces us to learn, because then, unless we do that, our aspirations will not be met. Now, companies like Dell, companies like IBM, companies like Salesforce are saying that the nature of business itself is changing. So from traditional hierarchical organizations, we are becoming an organization which a lot of people are calling social business. This is not to confuse with social entrepreneurship, but essentially using social tools to reimagine the way businesses are. One of the big disconnects I have with when I speak to HR people, and because I probably moved from an HR to a marketing role, is employees, candidates, and customers are not different entities. And we did this study with one of our, so we are a UK-based firm. Most of our clients are in the UK. We've just started an India operation. So we work with one of the UK-based telecom agencies. Found out that the impact of rejection of candidates had an impact on the bottom line. They could forecast, if the way I reject a candidate, if I hire 10,000 people, there's a chance that I've rejected 90,000 people or more who have come from the interview. Impact their negative or handling their process negatively has an impact on the bottom line, because those 90,000 are potential customers. You don't choose them well, they're not going to buy your products. And they will talk about it on social media to their friends. So there's this outward facing part which is being called social media marketing, and what we specialize in called talent communities. How do you build and engage a relationship with people before they join who would like to follow you? Then the second aspect, social CRM. CRM stands for customer or candidate. Choose your pick, they're the same people. Social CRM says, traditional CRM was who's buying us, how much has he bought, when was the last thing, when is the sales guy going to go meet him. Social CRM also tries to map out as, if this guy bought from me, is he recommending me to his friends? What about the guys who are not buying from me but still are my advocates? Analysts, journalists, they form opinions, thought leaders. They form opinions of other people's perception of my product, my employer brand. If I don't have them mapped out and I don't know what their influence level is, I have no way to impact my employer brand. And then the Enterprise 2.0, which Suchita talked about, is using social tools within the organization to connect employees with each other so that they learn, collaborate, and work. So this is a model I made on why this is happening. People connect, not on social networks, around a shared passion, lifestyle, or purpose. We, in the days of knowledge management, we called it communities of practice, around skills, around careers. So we connect with other people whom we may or may not know here. Then we share content. Sharing content helps build us trust. And once trust is built up, is when actual collaboration will happen. You won't collaborate with somebody you've met for the first time. But if you share something in common, you discover a shared, could be college, could be a skill, could be an interest area, could be movies that you want. Then you will share data around that. Once that sharing happens, then trust is built up. And trust is the foundation for collaboration. And of course, when there is a trend, we are sure to have large consulting firms actually checking where that is. And while this data is from 2009, McKinsey's come out with a recent data which basically the findings are the same. Internal users, external users, majority of organizations are saying by doing it, they've seen median improvements over last year of so much percentage. What are talent communities? Talent communities are your organization as a hub for people to connect and converse. And it's not just people, it's also content. So lots of organizations post videos and content on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Wikipedia. They have followers in each of these places. But they have people in the applicant tracking system who are dead and gone. Dead and gone in the sense of the data is no longer relevant. The applicant tracking system is practically useless 6 months after you've filed a resume in it. People are visiting your careers page. If there's no job for them there that they are suited for, you think they will come back? No. How do you channel those people into a community? And the jobs that you're posting. There's another piece of content that is interesting for people who are interested in your organizations. So, a talent community consists of people who are interested in your organization, people with skills that you are interested in, and company employees who act as brand ambassadors and engage with this talent. So, the overlap of people who have the skills and are interested in you is a sweet spot of recruitment. That is the people you need to engage with. If you don't have a job right now, build a relationship with them. They are your, I hate to use the term, but talent pool for you to do just-in-time hiring. people interested but without the skills, your company employees can actually act as subject matter experts, build up those skills. And we talked about games and skill. So there's a term called gamification. Now, how do you use concepts that Farmville, Castleville, and all these social games have taught to get people to compete with each other and increase their skills? And how do you use people with skills but who are not interested in you, how can you use the human face of the organization to connect with them and attract them to your organization? So typically organizations are black boxes. We talked about the spiraling salary trap in the session before, and I believe that happens because there is no level of transparency within an organization. And people know this job description doesn't mean the paper is not worth the paper it's written on. So how do I make a decision based on what company I will join? There's this big known brand, but if I have a choice between an Indian global player and a MNC global player, some people will choose one way or the other. But the essential choice comes down to being how much money. So using this for a learning environment, inviting tools to for people to enter your community. You can actually segment and manage that community, unlike say public social networks which end up being broadcast, attract and recruiting, and acts as a social media hub for all your digital content. So, couple of case studies, but you can always find it on the net. So, and if you want to keep in touch with me, that's email, anybody of you in Twitter, that's my Twitter handle, my blog, or on Facebook. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Akhil was asking me that how is Benetton doing? So I told him that, well, we're doing great. Have you seen the new campaign, Benetton Unhate? So, yeah, so I remember that, so I knew when it was coming out, and a night before, I remember that I got a call frantically from one of my friends. Said, have you seen Facebook? I said, what happened? What is Benetton doing? It's like, what happened? No, they've come up with this new campaign. Have you seen this? I said, I saw it long back because obviously I party to it. I think, and by the time I logged into Facebook and I actually saw the campaign, it already had some, I think about 500 comments. It had just come out. And it was almost just in time. And never have I ever seen that any campaign or anything that you do and you put it on a public portal would have this kind of an impact. So I think that's the power of the Web 2.0, and what I will do is I'll be skipping a lot of these slides because either Akhil or Gautam or Suchitra would have already mentioned about it, so I don't want to repeat that. But I'd like to bring to notice that, see, we've all talked about Facebook, and we've talked about Twitter, we've talked about LinkedIn and the more known sites. But what is happening in the industry is that we all know about these technological innovations, right? We know about the fact that earlier we had rudimentary systems, it moved to HRIS, it's moved to EHR and all of that. What has happened is that we also know that all systems have become integrated and all systems are available on your PDA, they are decentralized, you can access it from anywhere. If you notice that, the sites that you go to now and have a look, you will notice that there are things written like, this experience cloud benefits of this software. Now, what does a cloud benefit mean? It basically means that you can